Alright, it's kind of warm out, but it's a pretty day, and I've got a few minutes today, so let's talk about the garden. Alright, roll the music and let's start. I wanted to tell you that I haven't done a video in the last couple of weeks because there really hasn't been much happening. Everything's growing and everything's okay. I've started to pick a few little cucumbers and there's just tons of little ones on it. When I get enough, I've got a deal going with a lady. She lives here in town, a friend of mine, who she is great at canning and pickling things. And I love bread and butter pickles. So when I get a batch of cucumbers big enough, she's agreed to do a video with me. We'll be over at her kitchen where we're turning these into bread and butter pickles. So I'll record that and that'll be fun. That's something different to do. Now, like I say, everything's growing. The corn's coming to a tassel, getting ready to tassel. Everything's doing okay. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how much time I'm spending out here. And to be honest, not much. I spend about 10 minutes of a morning. If I spend 15, that's because I was just spending a few minutes standing around and enjoying it and seeing how pretty everything is. I have, when I come out, I'll bring out a watering can, hit the carrots in the bucket with a little water, go in my greenhouse. I've got some beet seedlings in there growing on the ground. Water them if they need it, water the pepper plants that are in there. That takes 5 minutes, if that. Then I go around and pull a few weeds. Now, I've kept this under a pretty good deep mulch all summer long. So I'll have one little weed over here, another little weed way over there. It doesn't take any time. So when I talk about managing things where you're enjoying your garden, you're not working all the time, that's what I'm talking about. Do it where you can have fun. Now, potatoes are still growing good, but I'm starting to see signs of they might be thinking about dying back in the next week or two. So we'll do a potato reveal when that happens. And we'll talk a little bit more about how I grow potatoes, because it's different. Now, I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and he brought up his potatoes were done. And he talked about some of the time he spends clearing crops out of the garden, taking it to the compost pile, and turning his compost a couple of times a summer. And I said, man, you know, that's work. Let me tell you what I do. With this method, where I keep everything mulched, when I pull plants up, as long as they're not diseased, if it's diseased, get it out of there. Don't even put it in compost. Get it in trash bags and get it out to the curb. But as long as it's in good shape, it goes right back between the rows. Lay it on the ground, let it become part of the mulch. Let that nutrients that plant pulled out of the soil to produce its crop go back in. Basically, with all the mulch, we just compost the whole garden all the time. Now, one more thing. I would like to see a little bit more nitrogen. And I don't really want to use any chemical fertilizer. I have put down a little Miracle-Gro in the spring. And I just sprinkle it on dry. I just go between the rows and sprinkle it out and let the rain wash it in and soak it into the ground. And it seemed to work pretty good. It's not so much that things look deficient. Everything's growing pretty good. And I'm getting decent, you know, it looks okay. But I'd like to see just a little more. So I've got a plan for that. I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but you're going to like it when I do it. And that'll probably come along in August. We'll start working on that little project. So that's about it. Mostly I just wanted to say, you know, Make your gardening easy, because if it's easy, it's fun. If it's fun, you're going to want to get out there and do it every day. And one of the British gardeners I watch is, one of the things he always says is, do a little often. And he's right. If you do a little bit often, then it's fun. You get out there. I come home in the morning, even though I'm tired from work, and usually hot lately, I get right out of the car, I let my dogs out, and then I come out and start playing. And it's almost like play. That's all, folks. I want you all to have a quality day.